A VPN called FastestVPN has to live up to its name, right? I'm Gabe at Security Baron, and today we're putting FastestVPN through its paces. Jumping right into the FastestVPN, today we're going to check out its pros and cons, features, put it through some speed and leak tests, look at its subscription models, evaluate its customer support, and check out the mobile application so that you know whether or not FastestVPN is right for you. If you'd like to see a list of our favorite VPNs, Google Security Baron Best VPNs. If you have a question about today's review, leave us a comment and I'll get back to you. All right, so you know I can be rather verbose, so I'm gonna go through a quick breakdown of the pros and cons of the FastestVPN, beginning with the pros. Well, FastestVPN is headquartered in the Cayman Islands, so they don't have to give over your data to anyone. That is, if they actually log any. On top of that, they have a kill switch, and you get 10 simultaneous connections, so you can do almost anything you'd want with as many devices as you need, up until 10. On top of that, they're one of the more affordable VPNs out there, so far, totally bueno. Well, as the great Brett Michaels said, every rose has its thorns, but fortunately, FastestVPN isn't too thorny. The main cons that we see with them is that you probably won't be able to get on Netflix, and they do not have a split tunneling feature. All right, so now that you know a little bit about FastestVPN, let's jump into its features. And let's begin with data logging. Now, with FastestVPN, like most other VPN companies, they do keep a little bit of information on you. You know, they do have to know your email address, your billing information, and your login attempts. However, they're not gonna hold on to your history or session data. In fact, once you delete or deactivate your FastestVPN account, they will delete your email and it'll be like you never even existed in time with FastestVPN. Now, to continue with that, I do want to point out that they give you an anonymous IP address each time that you log in, but it's the same anonymous IP address. So that does give people a little bit something to work on in terms of determining who you are. And, you know, depending on what level of security you seek out, that's something to think about. So you may be wondering, does FastestVPN have a kill switch? And what is a kill switch? Well, it's a network lock feature. So if you're downloading something or viewing a website or chatting with someone from a specific place and your VPN goes dead, well, nothing's getting out because that kill switch has definitely been activated. So you don't have to worry about any information getting out, which is a huge plus for FastestVPN. Now, you may be wondering, well, what if I want to be on the public network and the private network at the same time, something referred to as split tunneling? Well, unfortunately, with FastestVPN, you do not have that option. You can either be on the private network or in the public eye, but you cannot go back and forth with FastestVPN. And finally, if you're trying to use Netflix with FastestVPN, at the moment, that is not possible. Netflix and the VPN companies are constantly duking it out with one another. And at the time of us making this review, you could not use Netflix with FastestVPN. So that's the lowdown on the FastestVPN features, but we need to put it to the test, beginning with the speed test. With a name like FastestVPN, I have some pretty high expectations when it comes to speed. And I tested it in the middle of the day in Brooklyn on an Optima network with an Asus VivoBook and a MacBook Air. FastestVPN had no effect on the latency of my Mac, which is very impressive, and I was impressed with how little it actually affected the upload speed of either computer. Only about 13% on the Mac and a little over 22% for the Windows. Now, FastestVPN slowed down the download speed by about 45% for each computer, which is pretty middle of the road. However, overall, I was impressed with FastestVPN speed, as I couldn't really tell a difference when I was using the internet with FastestVPN versus without for the things that I was doing. So now that we've gone over the speed test with FastestVPN, let's look at the DNS leak test. Now, a DNS leak test has to do with the idea that a VPN is your encrypted tunnel, and you don't want any leaks outside of that tunnel or the tunnel itself is moot. Now, DNS stands for Domain Name Server. And you can think about it as when you type in like google.com. Below that, of course, there's an actual IP address. So we want to make sure that that DNS leak doesn't happen. And fortunately for us, FastestVPN and our DNS leak test came back negative. The final test that we'll run today is the WebRTC test. Now, WebRTC stands for Web Real-Time Communication, and that's basically the communication between two IP addresses when you're talking about transferring files, messaging, or even video chatting. So this requires, those two addresses to know one another. So the question is FastestVPN actually hiding that information? And fortunately for us, in our WebRTC leak test, they were. So far, we've gone over FastestVPN's pros and cons, features, and even put it through a few tests. But let's talk about the money and its subscription options. Now, FastestVPN has a wide range of options when it comes to subscriptions. You can do your monthly renewal for $10 a month. You can do a year, 3 years, or even 5 years. And that 5-year has one of the most affordable prices we have ever seen for a VPN because it breaks down to 83 cents a month, which is honestly, keeps me flabbergasted. So those are your options when it comes to FastestVPN and their models. But I also want to point out that you have 10 simultaneous connections with FastestVPN. Some of the leading VPNs out there only give you 3 simultaneous connections. And with FastestVPN, you can do that and switch your servers an unlimited number of times. So you can switch up your servers and have 10 simultaneous connections. And honestly, that's really impressive. And we're overall pretty blown away by what FastestVPN is offering. So let's be honest, customer support is not something that VPN companies are known for. But FastestVPN, could it possibly be a cut above the rest? Well, I must emphatically say yes. FastestVPN has a ton of things going for it when it comes to customer support. Let's begin with the live chat feature, something that you don't see with a lot of VPN companies, where you can speak to a live actual person and not just a robot about the problems you're having with the VPN. On top of that, something that we really appreciated is the other people's reviews. I mean, it has a 5-star rating from Trustpilot, which absolutely blows everyone else out of the water. And on top of that, every single review of the customer support was positive. It's just something we do not see in the VPN realm, and we were very much impressed by. So the last thing I want to discuss regarding the FastestVPN is the mobile application. Now, FastestVPN works on Windows, Macs, tons of devices and operating systems, but I want to focus on the mobile experience. Now, in the iPhone Apple Store, you get 4.2 out of 5-star rating, while with the Android Google Play Store, you get 3.2 out of 5 stars. And that's a pretty significant difference. So we wanted to dive a bit deeper, and we saw that most Android users complained about just being able to download the app onto their phones in the first place. Which seems to be kind of a hurdle for using a VPN. So I feel much safer recommending it for iPhone users than for Android users. All right, we've gone over a lot regarding FastestVPN, but you just want to know, Gabe, is it right for me? Can I use it? And the answer is probably, most likely, it's a good VPN for you. Now, let's start with some of the more positive aspects. I mean, it's super affordable. You get 10 simultaneous connections, and it pretty much lives up to its name with pretty quick download speeds and not too much latency. So really impressive in that regard. However, if you're the kind of person who's using it on an Android, or trying to watch a lot of Netflix through your VPN, or do something, as simple as split tunneling, you might want to look somewhere else. But generally speaking, we actually really liked FastestVPN, and we can definitely recommend it. So that concludes our review of FastestVPN. If you appreciate today's video, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. As always, this is Gabe, Security Baron. Be secure.